Accucare Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine in Brick, New Jersey offers a state-of-the-art facility with all the best and current treatments. With athletic trainers, massage therapists, and doctors of physical therapy, Accucare has everything you need to stay healthy and perform at the highest level. Cupping, stretching, laser therapy, compression boots, and a full-body cryo chamber are just some of what you can expect at Accucare. Check out their website and social media links in my bio. No prescription is needed to see them. So call them today and start feeling and performing at your best. Again, thank you to Accucare for sponsoring the Shore Football Report.
All right, talking the Constitution Division, this is completely all new. Like literally every single team in this division was not in this division last year. Colts Neck and Jackson Memorial tied for the championship in this division this past season.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even in it. So to me, I look at this as almost like the question mark division. Like a lot of solid programs that have question marks. The teams are Asbury Park, Homedale, Manasquan, Ocean, Shore Regional, St. John Vianney. So we'll go through the question marks one by one because you got all the info on who's coming back, how they're going to look. An obvious one right off the bat. How is Group 1 Shore Regional and Group 1 Asbury Park going to fare in this division?
Well, Asbury Park's numbers are low. Their numbers. Well, first, they have not a lot of guys back. So they're in here because of their historical strength of their index. They only got 4 starters back, 3 on defense, and we know they lost Jashawn Brown and Carter. And they only had as low as 19 players on their varsity team. So now they're in 2 divisions higher. So it's going to be tough for Lamar.
I mean, they did win a share of the division title last year, so I'm sure that contributed to why they got moved up. But it was an incredible story that they even did that. I mean, they had some games canceled because of various issues. It seemed like week to week, are they even going to be able to play half the time? They're talented, but like you said, they're such a tiny Group 1 school that reloading from a tremendous senior class is not easy for them.
No. And then Shore Regional, you give Kaz a schedule, he's going to be competitive. They have 7 guys back on both sides. Jackson Whitaker, one of the better players in the Shore. We know that they're gonna have to rely on him a lot. And their sub-varsity was 4-1 on JV, 5-2 freshmen, but they were playing Group 1 teams. So now he's got to play competitive teams right here. That it's going to be tough for sure, but more Asbury Park. I think Homedale's going to adjust. They got a solid foundation of a 4-3 JV team, 7-1 freshman. They got Jack Cannon, a freshman I love, a quarterback safety. He's going to be a good one. And
what's a better last name to have as a quarterback than Cannon?
Jack Cannon, he's a dude. And 8 starters back on both sides. Here's my thing. We better start covering Kip Academy because they're on everybody's schedule. I think I'm going to do a preview with Kip Academy.
Their phone is ringing off the hook over there.
They're playing everybody in the Shore Conference. I don't know what's going on over there, but they are very, very interesting competitors for our Shore Conference. And I want to thank them for coming on our schedule.
But then we also, getting back to the theme of question marks. Yeah. Well, first of all, when you talk about just early crossover stuff, like Manasquan played Shore Regional last year and handled them pretty good. So maybe not the best sign as far as, but again, Manasquan, they lose Patton and they lose some other good seniors. So what are they going to be this year? Obviously, they're -1. They're always like a solid competitive. Ocean lost one of the top players in the entire Shore Conference. Tyler Douglas headed to Temple.
He's in
So,
Temple now.
Yeah, like what are they going to be? St. John Vianney. They had Kyle Various this year, who was one of the better all-around players in the Shore Conference, and a couple other guys. What are they going to be? So I think this is like one of the more intriguing divisions as far as like it's hard to even assess right now how these teams are going to be, because there's going to be a lot of new faces playing key positions for these teams.
I mean, you got Ocean, 6 starters back on both sides, but of course Tyler Douglas is gone, Flanagan's gone, Shane Garrett is gone, but it's who you got back, is more important. Nick Caruso is going to be a good lineman, the center lineman, top center out there. And then St. John Vianney's got 4 to 5 starters back, but those Parothios can kind of reload a little quicker than other people. They were very good on JV freshmen, 5-3 and 6-2 with JV freshmen. I think that they're the team to beat in that division. And Manasquan, 6-7 back on offense, defense, 5-2, 5-2 on both JV freshmen. But they're going to have a new look. No more Brett Patton, no more Jameer Howard.
Yeah, the core of their offense is basically gone.
That's what when you're talking about question marks, the identity of some of these teams are going to be a little different, but maybe the results might be the same. They might be a little bit more.
And I'm also curious, like Shore Regional, as we all know, forever under Mark Costantino has run the wing T, and that's an offense that a lot of these other teams don't really see because it's much more prevalent at the Group 1 level. So I wonder maybe that gives them a little bit of advantage at first because you just haven't seen it. It's difficult to scout. It's assignment football. It's all that kind of stuff. So we'll see if that helps them at all, that teams haven't seen them. You're right, though. You just look at this and you go, like you said, I guess St. John Vianney might be a slight favorite here, but you just don't really know because, Ocean and Manasquan are just 2 traditional power Shore Conference programs that usually just sort of reload and are in the mix, but they lost some serious guys, So I look at this division and I couldn't even tell you. Like, in other words, when you're looking at the actual schedule in this division, and you're saying, what's a really big game, besides all the KIPP Academy games.
Yeah.
What would you point at as like maybe like this is an early separation game or something like that, or Manasquan against St. John Vianney in the 3rd week of the season. Maybe that's a big game.
It's 2 tiers, 3 teams and 3 teams. Oceans, Vianney, Manasquan, and then of course Shore, Asbury, and Holmdel. So those 3 got to get to that next level. But that's where I see it. There's 2 tiers with that. You're right. After the first week, everybody plays each other. Maybe pieces might fall.
Like that first weekend or their second game, the first weekend of divisional games, the second week in September,
right.
Manasquan plays Shore Regional. You look like that's like kind of like an early indicator of who's going to be who right away. So I think that would be one to watch. But this might be one of those divisions where the big game doesn't really materialize until you're like halfway through September or early October. Teams have emerged from the pack, so then you can point to, okay, this team versus that team, and mid-October might be for the division championship. So it's just going to be interesting to see like what games early on will signal like this team is a front runner. St. John Vianney plays Manasquan in that 3rd week of the season. That could be another one. So I think this is just a division where you're like, let's just see what happens.
Manasquan traditionally is great in the trenches. So you have to say they're going to be a tough team to move around. They're going to be a different identity. They have 2 outstanding freshman wide receivers that they're excited about. But
they're going to they're going to see where they're at pretty early, right? Because don't they play Point Borough? Like right away?
Week 1.
Yeah, in a rivalry game, a good Point Borough team that returns, some of all Shore caliber type players.
Yeah.
I think that right away will let you know like where's Manasquan at.
Yeah. They didn't do well last year, the first game they played with them there. But you're right. They have question marks within their own program. Who's doing this? Who's doing that? When you talk to them, they don't know who the quarterback is or who's going to replace this guy. So it is interesting.
One last question for you as a coach. Tyler Douglas was the franchise on Ocean
Was.
last year, right? His dual threat ability
Yeah.
was incredible. He could make throws that almost no other kid in the Shore Conference, a few kids in New Jersey could make.
Yeah.
Do you reconfigure the offense a little bit around the new players you have?
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, the average quarterback, you can't say, well, just execute like Tyler did or make this throw like he did. Is this a situation where you say, hey, this is my offense, I don't care who's in it,
No.
that's what we're running? Or do you mold it around the personnel?
Coach Klein develops his offense around the personnel, and Tyler Douglas was a unique character. Cerebral, and also had the athletic ability. He was a dude, and you just let him lead the program and go and keep going. But I mean, their RPO offense and all that. No, I think they're going to be probably a little bit more conservative. You would have to be.
And they probably may work harder to like establish the run game because maybe a little bit more balanced than they were with Douglas. Like
they're going to be good up front too. Ocean's going to be good up front on both sides of the football. So they might play a little bit more run-oriented stuff with there, but they're going to be okay with that. But they're going to, if you're looking at the football all the time, it's going to be different. There's not another Tyler Douglas in this division.
No. And that's what I'm saying. You look at this division and just look at it right now. You mentioned Dak Jackson Whitaker, but like, who is another just obvious star coming back from any of these teams? No, I'm not going to say no one, but like no one who was like a first team all shore.
Jackson Whitaker is a dude. Jackson Whitaker,
right?
But
I'm saying these other rosters, all of their all shore players who were top guys in the shore last year are all gone.
Yeah, we're going to go over that.
This is an opportunity for all the new guys and the young guys to make a name for themselves in this division.
Well, I do believe Nick Caruso is the top center out there, and he's a dude, but it's not one of those sexy positions. But
it's not Patton, it's not Jameer Howard, it's not Various, it's not
No, the skill positions. The skill positions. I mean, you got Raleigh Stevens at Asbury Park, but I don't know if he's got a lot more people around him. He's a guy that's very explosive, but there isn't. I like Marcelo from St. John Vianney too, the receiver corner. But you're right. There's not a lot of guys in the skill positions
who are established. I'm sure there's guys waiting to be breakout stars, but not guys that we have seen prove it and do it already.
Yep. So, all right, we'll end this right here, right now. I'll let you guys watch the team summaries with all the different data and info on each team. And then, of course, what players are back that made the Shore Football Reports, numerous all-star teams with that. We're excited. Somebody's going to win this division. There will be new stars in the 2023 Constitution Division. And if you want to know a little bit about them, watch the segment that we're going to show in a couple minutes.